Yo, what is going on, everybody? Hope you're good. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to set a couple things up here, and then we're going to get started. If you can, why don't you go ahead and tell me where everyone's tuning in from today? Would love to know. Almost ready, folks. All right, welcome. I'm here in Clearwater, Florida. I'm actually stopped at a bar here. I was trying to find some Wi-Fi, and I just couldn't get it, but I found my Wi-Fi. So why don't you guys tell me coming in from the Midwest? Oh my Lord, that was terrible. I literally lost connection for a full 4 minutes. Apologies on that, guys. But I am back, and we are going to get into the content today. So I want to talk about marketing, and I want to talk about that feeling that you likely have as a managed IT company right now, which is you're pushing on revenue. And have you ever realized that when you stop pushing so hard, nothing happens? The flow completely stops. The engine stops. As a matter of fact, there is no engine. You're just pushing on revenue. You're pushing on lead gen. But when you stop, the whole thing stops. And you're missing the engine. And the end result should it be? What is the end result of marketing? I'd like to kind of start a poll, actually. So I'm going to actually ask you guys to go ahead and put it in the chat. The answer is the end result of marketing is qualified leads for sales. If it's doing anything else than that, it's really not doing what marketing should be doing. A lot of times in our industry, marketing is broken down and reduced down into sending a mailer, working on the website, doing some public relations, putting out a white paper, making a blog. But at the end of the day, the whole machine is there for lead generation. And this is often something that's not really fully grasped, let alone not actually occurring in your business. My name is Alex Boots, and I build revenue systems for MSPs. I make it possible for them to achieve their revenue goals. I come in, I embed systems, I train your team. I've worked with MSPs in the sub $2 million range, as well as ones getting ready to scale close to $10 million and beyond. I've actually worked with about 10 different MSPs. And hey, if you're coming in just now, thank you. I had like 4 minutes of technical difficulty where I was like completely disconnected from Wi-Fi, but welcome. I basically introduced the topic for today, which is likely you're out there pushing on revenue, you're pushing on lead gen. But the minute that you stop pushing, there's just absolutely no flow because the engine is non-existent. The engine is marketing. And the final result of marketing should be qualified leads for sales. And if it's not, then marketing isn't being done in its full sense. So anyway, I'm Alex Boots, and I've worked with about 10 different MSPs this year. I've been in the channel better part of a decade. I've operated in MSP, and I've worked with or in MSPs. And I've seen the intersection of marketing, sales, and business development over and over in ways that work and ways that don't work. Now, in 2026, I believe that we are truly in a trust recession, particularly with the rushing in of AI outbound, which, by the way, I do support AI outbound, but I think it must be done in the right use cases. So we are in a trust recession, and I was talking to my mentor recently, a sales mentor that I have, and I looked at the deals that I closed this past year, and easily, I think it was about 80% of them, they had an in-person component. The person had actually met me in the flesh, whereas the other handful was done completely over virtual. Most MSPs, they don't have a brand recognition that can fill in that gap if they're only doing virtual to really get that true trust. And where I've seen this really have a hard time is lots of first time appointments being generated just on virtual Zoom calls. And so many of those were, they ghosted right after the first uh, discovery or FTA, because it's so much more difficult to establish trust on a virtual call than in person. I think marketing is one of the harder things to do in the revenue cycle in the MSP world. I saw a post on LinkedIn the other day. It was like, it's actually easier to build a brand than it is to zero in and close deals. And I have found that personally to be the exact opposite. I think it's a lot easier just to be an account executive and just be paid as an account executive and just lock in on deals, hone in on them, and close deals than it is to cover end to end what a marketing engine really is. Marketing, it truly depends on finding or creating a demand and then supplying that demand. And I think some of the difficulties of MSP marketing, I think, are many, and what makes it feel almost like your marketing is invisible. First of all, our audience is mostly problem unaware, particularly if we're trying to sell higher end services like cybersecurity or VCIO strategy, things like this. Or a lot of times we're selling to a problem unaware audience. Whereas, like, for example, if you're doing lead generation for attorneys, personal injury attorneys, you have someone who has gotten in an accident and they have a tangible injury to their body. They're very problem aware of their broken knee. Whereas it's just completely different in our world. I think due to saturation, there's competition towards really lowering cost of ownership of IT versus selling, demonstrating premium value to a brand. So you kind of have that price being driven down and down. And then, our topic, our IT, cyber, and compliance is a very dry, technical subject, and it's hard to create interest with that. I've been doing webinars for the legal industry with an MSP, and we have finally started to nail down what is actually interesting to the audience. And one of the big things that I learned is if you're doing webinars, you're trying to create interest in technical, you have to create an absolutely compelling subject to be able to draw people in. Like your webinar subject needs to be compelling enough that it alone draws people in, because it's just so damn boring talking about compliance and cyber and IT and trying to generate intrigue surrounding that. And of course, clients are retained for long periods of time. So our buyers, the buying window, it opens up infrequently and it closes quicker than some other products. So all those kind of come together to having a difficult marketing world. When you're talking about marketing and promotion, there's really a cycle that should occur with a successful promotional piece. And if you're just joining now, by the way, thanks so much. We're talking about marketing and promotion in the MSP world. So the cycle of a piece of promotion is attract interest and communicate a message and then get them to do something. I think most people fall down on those first 2 points of attract and interest. Now, so they don't even get to the section of letting their promo communicate across, because that communication is not even occurring to your audience because you're not attracting and you're not interesting. So many marketers are using cookie cutter templates, so they're not putting enough time into the design and the layout. And what is the layout of a piece actually communicating to an audience? Because layout communicates just like copy does on a piece of promotion. If you're trying to communicate to the legal industry, you want to communicate clarity. Your layout needs to communicate clarity. Your images need to communicate clarity. So they're not even getting to the communicate a message part. And really the rule of promotion is you have to attract their attention faster than it takes for them to see your promo and keep scrolling or just throw it away, which is really a second or less. So that's the trick. How do you attract them in literally a second? And the true test of this is just take the piece of promotion yourself you're trying to put out, scroll it down on a screen and go, did that stop my screen for longer than a second? If it didn't, you can pour tens and tens of thousands of dollars in that piece of promotion. It's never going to make you any money. But if it does communicate in quick enough time, then you do have a chance with that piece of promotion of communicating a message. So, why marketing feels invisible in our world? A lot of times the messaging is just off. How many times have you had your marketing director, if you have one, or anyone in marketing say, hey, let's do a proper survey of our audience and find out what are they interested in and what do they feel is a problem for their business? I rarely hear that, but if you don't start your marketing with surveying and understanding the intended audience, like really through and through, then you're going to throw money away on your marketing. It's all going to be ineffective anyway. So many MSP marketers are using templatized promotion and they're not hitting those exact, pain points or those exact, I call them buttons or the interest or whatever you want to call it, for that person specifically. Now, this can be achieved in, 15 minutes, where you can use something like Perplexity and you can give it a specific prompt and you can have it do market research for you in legal, professional services, CPA, manufacturing, whatever it is that you're trying to hit. But you got to drill down on those exact things that they want to hear about. The other thing I see a lot of, which I'm sure you do as well, is shotgun marketing. So I see Facebook ads a lot where it's like, looking to switch IT providers, check out our guide, or ads that are directly trying to sell managed services. And I've never seen those ads perform well. Because when you try to sell managed services, you're trying to sell like a stuffed subject full of all these different components at somebody versus selling individual pieces of a product to them. So, you've got to spend enough time on your strategy, on breaking down your list and breaking down your ICP and breaking down, surveying the audience, and then breaking down exactly what you're going to sell to who, and then designing those engagements specifically around that, backed up by the go-to-market strategy of, we're going to do webinars, are we going to do cold dials, are we going to do direct mail, are we going to do networking, or, it's a conglomeration of all of those things working in tandem with each other, but on focused campaigns, maybe in a quarterly type cadence. I've seen work particularly well. Some of these things that I've come to as regards to marketing have really come the hard way. I'm on my third business, and across all of my businesses, there's one thing that has caused me probably the most failure out of anything, and that is having long periods of time where promotion is minimal or sometimes almost nothing, because I'm busy with other tasks, I'm busy with delivery, I'm busy with administration, or I just closed a big deal and I feel safe in not promoting. Every single time I have done this, every single time, it is followed by financial hardship and it's followed by a drought. Because I didn't have an actual engine in place, and I'm still learning this constantly. But you have to be able to maintain the promotion constantly and consistently. And that is what drives a consistent pipeline. And I know I might not be saying anything that's like groundbreaking to you today, but it is the number one thing that you have to have in place if you're going to have a consistent pipeline. And it's taken me the better part of a decade just to realize that. So marketing is truly senior to sales. So thanks for being with me through 18 minutes. I hope that we might cut this short today. I have having some technical difficulties over here, but I'd like to give you at least one actionable thing that you can do. And I'm actually going to give everyone who showed up, please just, it's not very easy for me to tell who actually came on my YouTube Live, but send me a message if you came on, and I'm going to actually share with you a market research prompt from Perplexity that I used to do market research that has led to a lot of great results. I'm also offering short-term marketing revenue sprints to help get your marketing and business development in a better spot. This is not expensive, but it is high-impact engagement. So if you're interested in getting some assistance, reach out and I'd be happy to. And then please like and subscribe to my channel. Give me some support. I'll keep on putting webinars and look out for more content. But thanks so much for coming on today, and have an awesome weekend.